Welcome in to Sport Bet Extra. I'm your host, Paul Rami, here every Thursday and Friday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, and on Sundays, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 a.m. Central. Today is Thursday, October 3rd. It's been a week now since we did our last stream. Unfortunately, Sunday we did not have a stream. I was out of town, wasn't able to get to it, so we missed on Sunday. But we are back. We're here today, tomorrow, and this coming Sunday. We've got your college football action. We've got your NFL action. We're going to get you guys everything that you need. So far, picks on the show that have given out have gone 5-2. So we are up just under 3 units. For anyone that has been listening, all plays have been 1 unit plays. We may change that here soon, adding a 3 unit play. Not really sure yet, but still, everything's been 1 unit plays. 5-2 so far for anyone who has listened to the show. So, for show purposes, again, I will be using picks based off of the offshore sports books. So, Bet Online, Bet US, Heritage, Bookmaker. Those are the most common ones that I'm going to use. So, that's the lines I'll be using. All plays, they're free. So, simply just visit bpaulrami.substack.com. You'll get all my plays. Subscribe to my YouTube down below as well, and you will get all plays there, or follow me on X at @thepaulrami. So we've got a NFL game today. Tampa Bay Buccaneers at Atlanta Falcons. Opened up at Falcons -2.5. So let's go ahead and get into that game. Both teams really are coming off big wins on Sunday, where the Bucs they cruised past the Eagles in a game where they just dominated. The Falcons somehow pulled off the win after only 14 first downs all game, and really they grinded this one out against that Saints, all due to their defensive and special teams efforts. Those were the only touchdowns they had for last week. Was thanks to that defense and special teams. Offense struggled. So you have to admire the fact that the Falcons, they have some grit. But that grit can only take you so far when the wheels start to fall off. And really, the Buccaneers in this spot, they're still being undervalued, as the books seemingly will never trust Baker Mayfield enough to give him credit for how well he's playing, even though right now he's fourth in the league in QB rating with a 106.9 and fourth in total yards, above the people like Patrick Mahomes, Joe Burrow, Matt Stafford, all these other big name quarterbacks. So you really got to start to kind of respect Baker Mayfield a little bit. The guy has turned it around since his days in Carolina and back in Cleveland. So when you look on the other side, Kirk Cousins, he's done enough to keep his starting job, but it's really just hanging on because as soon as the Falcons start to slump and lose 3 or 4 games in a row, the fans are going to be calling for panics. Really, it's almost inevitable. So, I mean, 4 games, this guy's only thrown 4 touchdowns with 4 interceptions. Not very impressive, not something that's going to lead you very far. So, how much can a rookie really learn from watching this type of QB play? Now, Kirk Cousins, don't get me wrong, he's a great guy. It seems like everyone loves hanging out with him. It's just not quite the play that we're looking for and not quite getting it done. Both teams really are dealing with injuries, as Mike Evans was questionable on the Bucs and Bijan Robinson on the Falcons side. So those things we've got to look at as well. But one more key stat to look at this game is that Tampa Bay is scoring 2.3 touchdowns per game when in the red zone, which is right among the best at the moment, compared to 1 touchdown in the red zone per game for the Falcons, ranking them among the league's worst. So this Buccaneers team, when they get in the red zone, they like to score, and they score touchdowns. Falcons, on the other hand, they struggle. Got a great kicker, but again, it's only going to take them so far. So Falcons, really, they may struggle to find the end zone again this game. So we'll be looking at the Bucs on the money line for this game. I know it opened up at -2.5, down to 1.5 now. And if we go take a look at the money line, there's still some plus money there that we're seeing. Bet Online has +107 on the money line. So that is what we will be looking at today. We're going Bucs money line, +107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. 107. let's go ahead and lock that one in. That's going to be one unit. Again, everything is one unit unless otherwise stated. So NFL game, that one's covered. We've got a couple of college football games. They're not very exciting when we look at those today. Nothing really stands out. These are a little bit tougher to really see what's going to happen, right? You've got Troy, who's been pretty decent defensively. Texas State's been done very well offensively. That minus 13 number on the road, I mean, it's tough to ask a team to lay 13 on the road against a team that really is very good defensively, can hold them, and keep it close. But it's just not a side that we're going to be on, not a total that really looks intriguing. And then we look at Sam Houston State, UTEP. Same thing. Sam Houston State should roll on this one, but again, it's Thursday night. You never know what's going to happen. UTEP can cover. They could also win outright. Who knows? But this is one of those games where not really liking either side or total as well. So we move on to Friday, October 4th. We've got 4 games for Friday. One of them we love, and we're going to go ahead and get on now. That line has moved since the opener, and we want to make sure we get on it before it continues to move past that key number. So we've got Jacksonville State, Kennesaw State, not the greatest one. U of H at TCU, being a Houston alumni, I love that school, but they're working through some things right now. Can't seem to get anything going. No offense rolling at all. They're struggling to really get any chemistry. So not trusting them there to cover that 16. Passing on that one. The one that we do like is Syracuse at UNLV at 9 o'clock. That's going to be a fun one to watch. So it's an interesting game as we get a team in Syracuse who's had some really underrated transfers that they landed in the offseason, such as their QB Kyle McCord from Ohio State and a cast of other players that came over. Now, they have clicked since week 1, covering there and winning outright as an underdog next week, but slipped up against Stanford on a difficult Friday night game, against a tough defense that is almost identical to UNLV. When you look at Stanford's defense, you look at UNLV's defense, they're very similar. Now, Stanford does extremely well against the run, only allowing 74.5 yards per game on the ground, similar to UNLV, who are allowing 83.5 rush yards per game. What that means is UNLV is going to force Syracuse to pass the ball and not let them establish any sort of run game to balance out their offense, just like Stanford did. Now, Syracuse, this team loves to throw, but you still got to be able to run the ball occasionally just to balance things out so you don't become so predictable. Now, Syracuse on defense, not nearly as tough as they allow 137.3 rush yards per game, which will now be an issue for this new look UNLV team under their new starting QB, Hajj-Malik Williams. This dude looked pretty good last week. In my opinion, this UNLV team is now better under their backup QB, who's a better passer and has the mobility just as Matt Sluka did. Same type of player, stronger passing ability. I know at the beginning of the season they were in a competition for that starting job. Matt Sluka won it, but really Hajj-Malik Williams, you're able to just slot him right in and keep this team rolling. Now, when we're looking at what UNLV does defensively also, it's key is they force almost 3 takeaways a game, while Syracuse, they're only going to give up about 1 per game. Flip those 2, and UNLV is only giving away 0.3 per game, while Syracuse is only forcing 1. In this loud stadium at home, also, penalties are going to be an issue for Syracuse. They accumulate 54 yards per game as UNLV forces 80 yards per game in penalties. So this UNLV team at home is going to be tough. They're going to force penalties. That stadium is going to be loud. Flip that again, and Syracuse is limiting teams to only 25 penalty yards per game. So we're not going to see a lot of penalties with UNLV, which will help. Just a rough environment for the Orange to be in on Friday night. This one is also one of those games where Syracuse, they're going to be heading across country, their first road game, just as Washington did against Rutgers last Friday, which was a winner that we were on. So it's really the first true test for Syracuse on the road against a streaking UNLV team that did not even skip a beat with their new QB. So what we're going to do is we're going to take UNLV laying 6.5 to go ahead and cover. So right now, UNLV minus 6.5. I'm looking for the best line, and it looks like it's going to be Heritage. So UNLV minus 6.5 on Heritage minus 108. So we're going to lock that in right now for you, minus 108. And that's all I've got for Friday. So one pick for tonight, one pick for Friday. We're going to go tomorrow's show looking at all Saturday slate. Don't want to force any action if we don't see anything we like. So we're just going to stick with those two, one today, one tomorrow. Remember, check out thepaulrami.substack.com. That's where you're going to get all my official plays as soon as the show is over. And on my X as well at the Paul Rami, get the latest updates. We're also maybe doing some in-game live betting. And that's all I've got for you guys. I will see you tomorrow, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central. Have a good one.